Hi guys, it's Lucy and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be talking about how to cope working shifts when living in student accommodation. Now, I'm not 100% sure I'm actually figured this out myself yet, but I've got I think 6 kind of tips and ideas to hopefully help some people out. So yeah, let's just get straight on with the video. So number one, the first thing is you are going to be absolutely exhausted anyway. Shifts tend to be 12 hours, they sometimes drag into 13-14 hour shifts, so by the time you finish that shift you are ready for bed. Most of the time you don't even want to eat food, you just want to go to bed. So that is something to keep in mind when worrying whether you're going to adapt to shifts or not. You're going to be tired anyway. You'll be absolutely knackered. Number 2, it's quite self-explanatory. Get yourself some earplugs. I didn't use any in first year. The people I lived with were on my cohort, we were on shifts at the same time. It worked out quite well in that sense. They just weren't needed. However, in second year I have lived with student nurses, and our shifts, our rotors, they're completely opposites and everything. So I did use earplugs to begin with, especially during their Freshers Week. However, the only one worry with that is you might not hear the fire alarm, and obviously that is a big concern that you do need to hear that. So yeah, that is just something to take into consideration, but earplugs, they can work, they don't always work. They're worth trying out. The next thing that I think has been an absolute lifesaver for all students in accommodation is we have a group chat for everyone in accommodation. Now this will be different for each uni, however my uni has a specific building and campus for that matter for healthcare students. So there's only about 30 or 40 of us in accommodation, so we're all in a group chat on WhatsApp. So if anyone's making too much noise we can quickly text, say, "Hi, I'm really sorry. I'm on shift at 6 AM in the morning, could you keep the noise down?" and stuff like that. It doesn't always work, but usually being a healthcare student you're a lot more considerate. You understand what shifts are like to a certain extent, so usually people are quite lenient to keep the noise down and help you out basically. The next thing at number 4, these are in no specific order, but is it's actually in fact easier to sleep in the day, simply because students are usually out and about. If they're not on shift they're probably at uni, they might be at home, they'll be doing their shopping, or they're on shift themselves, so it's actually easier to sleep in the day. So you'll be surprised, night shifts are easier to prepare for. For example, if I had a shift at 6 AM in the morning, I would need to go to bed at about 8 PM at night, whereas none of the rest of accommodation is going to bed at that time. It's absolute noisy, it's chaos, no one's going to be letting you sleep. Whereas if you're on shift at 6 PM at night, you're sleeping from 7 AM in the morning till whenever. No one's in, no one's keeping you awake, no one's having a party midday, are they, usually? So it actually helps more. You get more sleep when you're on nights for that matter, and you're actually more awake on nights, even though it's completely against your whole body's system of working in the day, sleeping at night. The next thing at number 5 is put a sign on your door. If you're working night shifts especially, I've had occasions where the cleaner has woke me up, the maintenance have woke me up, and therefore putting a sign on your door allows them to know that you are on shift. Obviously make it be a polite note, just say, I don't know, sorry, is it possible you could keep the noise down, student on nights, or something like that. It just helps them know. You know, there's 30-40 students in accommodation, there'll be more in other unis. Maintenance, cleaners and that aren't going to know who's on shift and who's not, so yeah. There is also, with my accommodation, that if there's planned maintenance on your room in particular, they will email and you ask if it's alright to do that maintenance, otherwise they'll rearrange it if you are on shift. So yeah, see if that sort of thing is in place at your uni and your accommodation, because that's obviously really helpful. And then finally, probably the most easiest thing to do, the best thing to do, is get yourself a whiteboard or a piece of paper or something and make a flat rota. Then each week you can put your shifts on and see when people are working. It makes you more aware of who's in the flat in the day, who's on shift and stuff like that. And it just makes you be a bit more quieter when people are working, or sleeping for that matter. Yeah, so I did that in year 1. Absolutely brilliant. We all knew when we were on shift. And year 2 we did that as well. Student nurses tended to do day shifts anyway, so it was more easier. It was better for me because I was able to put when I was on nights, and yeah, they kept the noise down. Just one final thing on the topic of your flat and group chats. Make a flat group chat as well as an accommodation group chat. This allows you to communicate with your flat. If they're being noisy, you can text them. I mean, when you're tired and in your pyjamas, you don't really want to leave the room to go and tell them if they, well, go and ask them if they could keep the noise down a bit, so it's just handy to have to be able to text them. So yeah, that is all my kind of tips and ideas for adapting to working shifts while also adapting to living in student accommodation. It's difficult, but it's definitely doable, and as long as it's done properly, it can be quite an enjoyable experience. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful, and I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye guys.